The Running Man gives the Stephen King classic a modern update that also infuses the final fate of Ben Richards with a clear societal message. Based on the novel of the same name, The Running Man focuses on Ben Richards' inclusion in a lethal reality TV game show where he must avoid being killed for 30 days. As he evades capture and execution, Richards sees the full extent of the government's control over society and accidentally becomes a symbol of resistance. It all builds to a brutal but rewarding finale, where Richards' example turns him into more than just a competitor. Here's Ben Richards' fate in The Running Man and what it all means, explained. Does Ben Richards survive The Running Man? The Running Man tweaks elements from both the Stephen King novel and the Arnold Schwarzenegger film adaptation, creating an ending that reflects both but gives Ben Richards a more rewarding and vindictive finale. By the end of The Running Man, Ben has been led to believe that his wife and daughter have been murdered. Although he kills McCone and the other hunters to avenge them, Ben refuses to replace McCone. As a result, the plane carrying him is shot down, seemingly killing him. However, the printings that Amelia Williams spreads during her escape from the plane, coupled with the recovered black box from the plane, reveal the truth of Ben and Killian's final conversation. This leads to a full revolt against the system, with Killian's business brought low by the public. This is a more visceral finale than the book or the first movie. In the book, Richards chose to fly the plane into Killian's tower, killing them both. In the first movie adaptation, Richards saves the day and becomes the standard movie hero. Wright's version of The Running Man makes Ben Richards into a symbol. Embracing his role as the kindling to spark off a revolution, Richards' speech to Killian on the black box helps set off a full revolution spurred on by the mantra that Richards lives. Even if his fate is a mystery to the general public, his legacy lives on. Notably, though, the film's ending reveals that Ben Richards did survive the destruction of the plane thanks to the cockpit security system. This allows Richard to also have his happy ending, reuniting with his family before taking part in the raid of Killian's building. It allows Richards to become a symbol while still being his own person. Amelia Williams is one of The Running Man's most important characters. Amelia Williams plays an important thematic role in the film. A regular and fairly well-off citizen, Amelia is introduced as one of the countless people who have bought into the lies spread by Killian's TV shows like The Running Man. She believes Richards is a gleeful murderer and chastises him for abandoning his daughter. It's only when she sees Richards as a person and witnesses the lethal tactics of the authorities that she understands his plight. This is best illustrated with her scarf. A fine piece of fashion, Richard incredulously explains that the cost of one scarf for the wealthy would have provided his daughter with lots of life-saving medicine. This shakes Amelia, who gradually recognizes the government's dehumanizing tactics and her complicity in it. When she decides to prove she's a good person by helping him, it's because she needs to prove it to herself. It's one of the more interesting elements of the film, which is underplayed because of her absence in the film's first half. Amelia speaks to the banality of evil. Even good people can be lulled into a sense of security by the people committing atrocities for the sake of that security. While Amelia enjoys her reality TV and self-driving car provided by the capitalist rulers of this version of America, countless others barely get enough food or medicine to survive. She's not actively malicious, but obliviously uncaring in her dismissal of the suffering of others. As much as the revolution needs symbols like Richards, fighters like Elton, and messengers like Bradley, it's the public, represented by Amelia, that is the crucial final piece of the revolutionary wake-up call. If the people unite, then no government can survive against them. Evan McCone's origins and motivation for hating Ben Richards. Evan McCone is the leader of the Hunters, the most dangerous people chasing after Richards. For much of the film, McCone's identity is hidden from the audience. However, it's eventually revealed that McCone is actually a former Running Man contestant. Throughout the film, there are multiple references to the first season of The Running Man. During that initial season, a single person made it further than anyone else, reportedly surviving for 29 days before being killed. However, it turns out that McCone was that contestant. When presented with Killian's offer to become a hunter, he accepted it, while Richards refused. McCone becomes a direct contrast to Richards, someone who fought the system but accepted a place within it once given the opportunity. Ruthless and dangerous, he has no concern about civilian lives. Compared to Richards, who only actively kills the hunters once the battle becomes too tense. McCone is a great representation of what Richards would become if he played by Killian's rules. Ultimately, even when he finds out Killian intends to replace him with Richards, McCone swears by his star power. He's fully become a part of the system he fought against. He hates Richards because he was once like him. The true meaning of The Running Man. The Running Man has always been a harsh critique of celebrity culture and the ways entertainment can be used to cover up excess and cruelty in government and business. However, the new version of the story leans heavily into these themes, telling a story about revolution against a cruel status quo. The film never presents a sympathetic side to Killian and his forces. There is no greater good at play or noble lies. It's all happening to maintain their power. When everything crumbles, there's no loyalty or recourse. Even Killian, for all his wealth and power, can't stop the public from turning on him and the rest of the upper class. The Running Man is a scorching and defiant movie that doesn't have any patience for the people who profit off the misery of others. Even Amelia is criticized for her lack of empathy towards others, only gradually coming to accept her own complicity in the broken system that countless suffer and die in.